2017. The air was electric. An invisible energy crept from anonymous forums and telegram chats to the sidewalk cafes of Saigon and the offices of Wall Street. A new keyword was born, whispered like a magic spell that could unlock the door to absolute wealth: ICO, Initial Coin Offering. They called it a revolution, a democratic, decentralized funding method where anyone, anywhere, could become an angel investor for the next Google or the Facebook of the future. It promised to shatter the shackles of traditional finance, of arrogant venture capital or VC firms. It gave power back to the community. But today we tell a different story. A story not of a dream, but of a nightmare. This is the story of one of the most ruthless speculative bubbles in modern financial history. A digital gold rush that turned blockchain technology, born to create trust, into a global casino. A machine for burning real money in exchange for empty promises. This is the story of the ICO, the wild hype that scammed millions of investors, vaporized over $20 billion, and left a permanent scar in the history of cryptocurrency. And more importantly, at the end of this video, we will analyze the most expensive lesson from those ashes and how it is shaping a completely different future for this industry. A future called Proof of Utility. Welcome to the Pi From Us channel, and this is our profile on the rise and fall of the ICO era. Part 1. The Dream. To understand why the ICO could explode, we must first understand the bottleneck it solved. In the traditional world, if you have a great idea, you have to jump through countless hoops. You pitch to venture capitalists who scrutinize every detail, demand 30 to 40% of your company, and control your roadmap. This process takes months, and 99% of startups die before seeing their first dollar. Blockchain, especially the birth of Ethereum and the ERC20 token standard in 2015, changed the game. Suddenly, you didn't need a working product. You didn't need revenue. You didn't need a legally registered company. You only needed one thing: a white paper. A few dozen A4 pages, written in flowery technical language describing a grand vision, promises of a decentralized AI platform that will revolutionize healthcare, of an absolute transparent global supply chain, of a Web3 social network that gives data back to the users. With just those few pages, a flashy website, and a team of developers, sometimes just stock photos, you could raise tens, even hundreds of millions of dollars from all over the world in just a few minutes. It was a dream. The dream of a flat world where the best idea wins, not the one with the most connections. From Silicon Valley to Singapore, from London to Seoul, thousands of projects were born. The dream of investment was cloaked in the beautiful garment of decentralization. But, as we are about to see, when human greed meets unregulated technology, it doesn't create paradise, it creates hell. Part 2. The Mania. By mid-2017, the fever had begun. It was no longer about technology. It became a race to get rich as fast as possible. The numbers don't lie. Look at the scale of this madness. In 2016, the total capital raised from ICOs was just $96.3 million. By 2017, that number skyrocketed 40 times, reaching over $4 billion. At its peak, according to PwC, in just the first 5 months of 2018, the market sucked in another $13.7 billion. We witnessed ICO unicorns. Filecoin, a decentralized storage project, raised $257 million. Tezos, a new blockchain platform, raised $232 million in just 2 weeks. EOS, an Ethereum competitor, held a year-long ICO, raising a record $4.1 billion. Telegram, the messaging app, raised $1.7 billion in a private sale. The craze spread to celebrities: Floyd Mayweather, DJ Khaled, Paris Hilton. People who knew nothing about code suddenly became blockchain experts, shilling for unknown projects. Everyone was launching an ICO. Everyone was investing in ICOs. A single click to buy a token in a private sale could bring returns of 300%, 500%, or even 1,000% in just a few days when it hit the exchanges. Hundreds of thousands of people in Telegram groups shouted, "Moon! To the sky! Hold!" People stopped reading white papers. They only asked one question: when to dump? It was the illusion of a world that wanted to get rich without producing anything. It was a digital gold rush, but there was a harsh truth that no one wanted to admit at the time. Most of this was garbage. Part 3. Greed Encoded. The ICO exposed the darkest side of the crypto Wild West: greed legitimized by technology. The cruelty of the ICO lay in how it preyed on the illusion of the era, the illusion that merely owning a token meant owning the future. With just a website and a few lines of ERC20 token code on Ethereum, a task that takes less than 30 minutes, one could raise millions of dollars from all over the world. What were they selling you? They sold vague ideas like AI combined with blockchain to save humanity, decentralized data platform for everything, global smart supply chain. They all had one thing in common: no one could verify what was real. No audits, no products, no revenue, only promises. And here is the most terrifying statistic that confirms it all. According to a shocking report from Satis Group, an ICO analysis firm, 81% of ICO projects in the 2017-2018 period were scams. Let me repeat that: 81%. Of the remaining 19%, according to a report by Ernst & Young, by the end of 2018, 86% of those projects were trading below their initial ICO price. This means if you bought 10 coins, 8 were scams, 1 lost money, and the last one maybe broke even. So-called decentralization ended in the most ruthless centralization. The money was centralized in the hands of the founders. The risk was centralized on the investors. They didn't just fail, they were professional scammers. And some of these scams have gone down in the history of financial crime. Part 4. ICO Crime Files. Billions of dollars vanished. Millions of lives were shattered. These were not technological failures. These were deliberate frauds. Case number 1. Bitconnect, the $2 billion Ponzi legend. If the ICO had a poster child, it was Bitconnect. It promised the impossible: an AI trading robot that would pay you a stable return of 1% per day. Compounded, that's a 3,700% return per year. The secret? You had to buy their BCC token and lend it to the platform. The truth? There was no robot. It was a classic Ponzi scheme, using new investors' money to pay interest to earlier ones. It held grandiose, cult-like events where thousands of people screamed its name. In January 2018, when regulators from Texas and North Carolina issued cease and desist orders, the platform collapsed. The price of the BCC token, from a peak of nearly $400, plummeted to under $10 in a matter of hours, and then to zero. An estimated $2 billion was lost. In Vietnam alone, the Bitconnect community had over 50,000 members, with losses amounting to thousands of billions of VND. Case number 2, OneCoin, the crypto queen and the $4 billion scam. If Bitconnect was a farce, OneCoin was a sophisticated play. Headed by Dr. Ruja Ignatova, a glamorous woman with degrees from Oxford who spoke at Wembley Arena and promised OneCoin would be the Bitcoin killer. OneCoin was also a multi-level marketing Ponzi, but more cruelly, it didn't even have a blockchain. They sold investors educational packages, and the OneCoin tokens were just numbers generated on an SQL server. You couldn't mine it, you couldn't trade it freely. Before it all crashed down in 2017, OneCoin had frauded investors globally, from Europe and Asia to Africa, with total estimated losses exceeding $4 billion. Ruja Ignatova disappeared
in October 2017, and as of today, late 2025, the crypto queen is still on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. Bitconnect, OneCoin, Pincoin, these are just 3 of thousands of names. The vicious cycle was maintained by flowery language, ecosystem, mission, breakthrough, global solution. But if you looked closely, most were just improved Ponzi schemes. Blockchain was exploited. People used it to legitimize greed, turning the ideal of decentralization into demoralization. Part 5. The Lesson and the Death of an Era. By the end of 2018, the party was over. The crypto winter arrived. Regulators began to act. The US SEC called it a story of historical madness. They stated unequivocally, most ICOs were illegal securities offerings. A wave of lawsuits began. The ICO died as quickly as it had boomed. Its ashes left a deep scar. Billions in market cap evaporated. Millions of investors lost everything. But the biggest loss of all was trust. Trust in the original goal of blockchain, to create a system without intermediaries, a system based on cryptographic truth. The death of the ICO was a wake-up call. There is no freedom without responsibility. Technology is just a tool. When humans lack ethics, that tool becomes a weapon of destruction. The question then became, so did blockchain fail? Is cryptocurrency just one big scam? No. From the rubble, a few projects truly survived. Projects like Ethereum, Chainlink, they survived for one reason. They focused on building. And the entire industry was forced to relearn its most basic lesson, a lesson that had been forgotten in the drunken mania. Part 6. The Rise of Proof of Utility. After the bubble years, the crypto world began to regain its sanity. People realized an obvious truth. Value cannot be born from printing tokens. Value must come from creating real utility. This is when a new philosophy was born, a complete antithesis to the ICO model. It's called proof of utility. Let me clarify the core difference. The ICO model, selling a promise. Step 1. Write a white paper, promise a future product. Step 2. Issue billions of tokens. Step 3. Raise millions of USD from the community, selling a dream for real money. Step 4. Get listed on exchanges to create liquidity for investors and founders to dump. Step 5. Maybe start building the product, or disappear with the money. This is the pump and dump model. It turns investors into exit liquidity for the founders. The proof of utility model, proving with action. Step 1. Focus on building the product and a community of real users. Step 2. Allow the community to contribute to the network. Data, bandwidth, attention, validation. Step 3. Issue tokens as a reward, a recognition for contributions already made. Step 4. That token immediately has utility within the ecosystem. Use to pay fees, buy goods and services. Governance. Step 5. The token's value is formed based on the size of the community and the demand for its real utility. This is the build and prove model. Instead of selling a dream, it is creating value so the coin is recognized. In proof of utility, every coin has the user's sweat in it. Blockchain returns to its true nature, an infrastructure for validation, not a tool for speculation. Projects like Filecoin, after its ICO, or Helium, Arweave, all have to follow this path. They can't just exist as a token. They must prove that people are actually using their network to store data, Filecoin or Arweave, or provide IoT coverage, Helium. And this leads us to one of the largest social experiments of the proof of utility model. Part 7. Future Case Study. Pi Network? Whether you love it or hate it, there is no denying that Pi Network is a case study in direct opposition to the ICO philosophy. Look at how they do it. While 2017 ICO projects burned marketing money to shill or pump their tokens, Pi Network chose the opposite path. Since 2019, they have not held an ICO. They have not sold tokens. They have not promised 3,700% annual returns. Instead, they focused on one thing: building a community. Over 10 million pioneers have been KYC'd and migrated to Mainnet. They have attracted tens of millions of users. Recent reports suggest the number has surpassed 50 to 60 million members worldwide, just with a mobile phone. They did not flood exchanges with tokens. Instead, they created a period called the closed mainnet. This is the key point. In the closed mainnet, the Pi token can only be used inside the Pi ecosystem. It is used to exchange goods and services between pioneers, users, to pay fees for applications, dApps, built on the Pi browser. This is the pure definition of proof of utility. They are forcing the token to have use value before it has speculative value. They are building a circular economy where users, developers, and businesses must figure out how to use PiCoin as a true medium of exchange. Pi's model is build a community, tens of millions of people, distribute tokens to those who contributed early, build utility, an ecosystem of dApps in the closed mainnet. Finally, open the mainnet to the outside world once the token is backed by an internal economy. This is a longer, harder, and certainly less sexy path than getting rich overnight like an ICO. But it is the sustainable path. Proof of utility is also how blockchain steps out of the legal gray area. When a token represents real utility, governments can view it as a digital commodity or utility token, rather than a speculative security, as the SEC concluded with ICOs. Part 8. The takeaway. The ICO was dead. It was a $20 billion lesson, a lesson that anyone entering the Web3 world must learn by heart. Don't buy promises. Invest in action. Don't trust a white paper. Look at the real product. Don't chase fast profits. Seek sustainable value. The ICO was the first fever of the blockchain era, and also the first test of technological ethics. It showed that while technology can open the door to financial freedom, it can also open the gates of hell for greed. The ICO bubble burst, but the true value of blockchain never disappeared. It is being redefined in an era where value is born from real utility, real data, real communities, and from people who take responsibility for the currency they create. What about you? What do you think of this contrast? Is the proof of utility model the only path for crypto to be accepted into the mainstream economy? And are you creating Pi coins? Which path do you choose to walk in this volatile yet opportunity-filled world? Leave your comments below. We will discuss the future journey of Pi Network together.